You see, what we do not appreciate is the fact that God is an immortal. It doesn't operate with time. And before God begins anything, he has already concluded it. And so God never started with you. God always begins with himself, from himself. That's how God operates. Whether or not you are accurate on ground is dependent on if you have peeped into the heart of God to see the things of God inscribed in his heart about you. Is that clear? Number one, a call is a policy direction from heaven on how the affairs of God on earth must be managed. First of all, a policy direction. And you see, the will of God must be done. Whether with you or not, it will still happen. Because it's a policy direction from heaven. What will make God stick with you on this policy is that you are obedient to him. Is that clear? And then I'd like us to understand that each and every one of us has a policy direction from heaven that implicates us. So the call is first a policy direction from heaven. What is the policy? It's having considered all the variables, God decided that this is the direction I want to go. Decisions that were made from the direction that God intends to go constitute a policy. So there were decisions to involve you in God's administration. All right? So the policy direction that implicates you, that synchronizes with you, becomes your calling. It didn't begin on earth, it began in heaven. Just like Pentecost Day didn't begin in the upper room, it began in the throne room. And it is very, very easy for you to think that something began with you. Where is that noise coming from? Hallelujah. I say hallelujah. All right, so that's the first thing. It's a policy direction from heaven. Because Abraham, before Israel became a nation, God had revealed to Abraham that they were going to go into slavery for 100 years, for 400 years. And then when they come out of slavery, he will allocate to them a land that will support their corporate destiny. Those are policy directions. And the policy directions of heaven carry the implication of God's sovereignty. But it is predestined, not what? Not predetermined. God has already rolled out the agenda, but he will not force you to pick it. The reason is because his purposes will never change, but his men can change. At the end of the day, that assignment will be accomplished, but God may not use you. And what will determine how God judges your pilgrimage through time is whether or not the errand that you were supposed to fulfill is accomplished. Hallelujah. So the first definition of a call is a policy direction. Second, when a call is discovered, it becomes a man's reason for existence. So we have brought it into time now. It is your reason for existence. The reason why you are fair in complexion. What's your name again? Jessica. The reason why you are fair in complexion is because God, in his purpose for your life, needs you to be fair. Your reason for existence is not in you, it's in your call. What tribe are you? Yes. Yep. You are from Edo State. The reason why you are from Edo State is because of your calling. Your calling defines your essence, your meaning from the heart of the manufacturer. There are many things you can do, obviously. But that's not your meaning. It's not your ability that is your meaning. It's your assignment that is your meaning. When you discover this policy direction, it becomes the reason for your existence. Is that clear? You know why, are you with me? You know why this is very critical. It's because you might be called to be an evangelist, for instance, and then you work in Access Bank. That your job in Access Bank is your job, but your call as an evangelist is your work. And the reason why Jesus said he was working was because his father was working. His father was working to develop policy, and he was working to implement policy. And the reason why you have a work is because your father is working. And your father has not stopped working because he's working through his spirit in your heart, so that you can become an adequate administrator of his agenda. As far as God is concerned, your life has no meaning outside of your calling. Meanwhile, when you bring this call into the natural realm, there are responsibilities that the natural realm confers upon us. One of those responsibilities, for instance, is that I need to provide for my children. Whether I know my call or not, that's the way the natural realm operates. Exactly. That I'm providing for my children and doing what I ought to do doesn't mean that I'm fulfilling a call. That's a responsibility. People in Lagos think that because in keeping with their job, they need to wake up 5 a.m. in the morning and then go to their job and come back 11 p.m. in the night, that God will excuse Lagos Christians for not fulfilling their call. You lie. Because what you have been doing is your job, and there's a difference between your job and what? So your call is the reason why you are like this. The reason why you are Idoma. You had to be Idoma in order for you to fulfill your call. God was looking for an Idoma man that will do that thing. And it happened to be that he found you. And he allocated that assignment to you. Why he wants an Idoma man is beyond your pay grade. There are many things about your calling that are mysteries, to show you that it did not come from government house. It came from an immortal. It is an immortal that wants those directives fulfilled. And at the end of the day, the worth of your life will be determined whether the will of God concerning that your life is fulfilled. Is that clear? I can go hungry, but let the will of God be fulfilled, because nobody will register my lack of food as anything that will strike a mark among the immortals.